Hey guys, so today is the 14th of May 2020 and I'm gonna do a bit of a different video on Bitcoin today because I'm just gonna look at some fundamental reasons why it might go up now and why it might cause a spike coming up in the next half a year to a year span. So this is not so much technical analysis, with some technical analysis mixed in as well, but more fundamental reasons why. So what we have first page here is Paul Tudor Jones calls Bitcoin a great speculation. Says he has almost 2% of his assets in it. This is very big. This is huge because hedge fund Paul Tudor, he's like one of the most famous uh, hedge fund managers, like from like old school, and he's one of the richest. So here, if we look at his Wikipedia page, and we look on the wealth, he's got net worth is 5.3 billion US dollars, making him 343rd richest person and the seventh highest earning hedge fund manager. So he's the seventh highest earning. So he's very known and very authoritative, I guess. And when he says stuff, people listen. So he's one of the first such prominent hedge fund managers who have publicly said he's investing into Bitcoin. So that's pretty big. And if you look at the price here on the chart, I got the daily chart from here, and it's basically here. I marked it out Tudor pump. So when he came out and said it publicly, before that we already, if you look from the bottom, if we look from the bottom here, we already pumped 143%, and we had this reversal candle here, and lots of people were saying, yeah, we're gonna dump, and then we had this huge pump here because that's when the knowledge came out that he invested into Bitcoin, and he said, yep, it's a good hedge against all the money printing that they have right now. So it's just that shows how much influence he has on investors when he says something like that. We since had a dump, but that's alright. So that's who he is. The other thing I'm looking at here is the Google Trends. Google Trends buy Bitcoin, buy Litecoin, Ethereum, Ripple, and Stellar. I don't know why I have Stellar in there. I should remove that. But basically what we have here is that over the past 12 months we're looking at actually uptrending on these by Bitcoin chart here. And if we look longer, let's have a look at 5 years, right? 5 years. 5 years is going to include our past all-time high here. And you can see it's not comparable, non-comparable. But what you notice here, there is an uptrend here, and there's higher highs and higher lows now happening, which is happening for the first time pretty much since the all-time high, which is, I think it's pretty important. So go back on the 30 days, we got this uptrend happening here, right? High low, high now. And also, if you can see, I've got buy Ethereum in yellow, and maybe Ethereum is having a bit of a spike up here as well. So I'm pretty bullish on Ethereum as well. The other thing I'm looking at is this Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Dash, Monero average transaction fee chart, right? And what we know about Bitcoin is that the fees go up fees go up if you have more usage of the Bitcoin blockchain. And what we see here on the last 3 months is that the fees have spiked up quite a lot, right? So it was about less than $1, about 0.70 cents or so on average, and then since April it spiked up. So you can see it spiked up all the way to about $3, almost $3.5 right now. So this shows you that lots of people are using Bitcoin blockchain for whatever reason, but the basically usage is going up, and you could speculate why. But it could be because people are buying Bitcoin and they're storing it on spot price. And also, if we look on this page here on Forbes, this is Forbes article. It says key data shows that Bitcoin's rally price to. So here we basically see that it was driven by a surge in spot exchange activity. and there's been a bunch of data given by this research firm, and they're saying that BitMEX actually had the lowest open interest, which is the derivatives exchange, and then the price was different from a market like Coinbase. And what that means is that Coinbase is a spot market, so the Coinbase price was going up higher, and BitMEX was sort of pushing it lower. So anyway, they've found out that it's been driven by spot activity. That means people are buying Bitcoin with real money, and they're buying real Bitcoin, not just some sort of a future or derivative like an option or whatever. So this means a little bit more, and it means a little bit more adoption wise, and that's why possibly we see why the transactions are going higher. So if we look here on the mempool transaction count here for Bitcoin, then we're gonna see that the mempools are spiking here. So you can see on April 30th, there's on May 1st, there is a huge spike in mempool transaction, meaning that there is more people trying to transact Bitcoin. So if we look on the May 30th, April, May, May over here, for some reason there is a lot of transactions went through. And if we go back to it, and if we look on 3-year time frame, you can see that now we're having a spike here, and the last spike we had was around April to June, April to end of June. And what happened April 2019 to end of June is we had April, I think that was over here, April, May, yeah, so April to end of June, there was a spike in this area here. There was a spike in activity, so you can see how the price went up during that time, right? During this time here, and this was of course the 2018 dump, which means a lot of people sold, I think, back in December, January, November, and the pump as well, I guess, during this time as well. So this was the last hype. What was the peak here? Let's have a look at the peak. So let's say December 17, right? Yeah, December 17 is here where the all-time high was reached. So we're seeing some positive signs from the sort of fundamental analysis of Bitcoin blockchain. Also, what I'm looking at is it's not so important to me, I guess, total hash rate. But total hash rate has been going up a lot. We had a huge dump here for some reason. Maybe lots of miners sold off or stopped mining because they're expecting the halving happening, and they're going to become less profitable or obsolete. And since then we're pumping again, and now we're getting a bit of a drop off because probably after halving of the inflation rate of Bitcoin, some of the miners are selling their mining equipment because they're not profitable anymore. So let's have a quick. So that's pretty much my couple of fundamental reasons why we're going up. But let's have a look at some of the TA here as well, real quick. So TA, we had the huge dump here, one of the biggest ever in Bitcoin capitulation during the coronavirus stuff. Then we have been going up along this trend line here, right? And then we have the spike. Here you can see the spike in volume as well. Then we had the Tudor price pump, and then we dropped pre-halving, and then we had the halving happening on the 12th of May, and then we dropped before it. But what you can see is it's getting supported by these daily EMAs. So there's 300 EMA, 200, 155, all of them converging in this place. We broke violently above them. Now we came back to retest them and we bounced off it. So this is very good sign. And also we're closing above the daily 21 EMA right here in purple. Very, very key, right? And also this trend line support all the way from the dump up to here, which is about 61 days now, so 2 months. It's been holding up. So these are on the daily we're seeing bullish signs here, right? There's bullish signs here. We're bouncing, we bounced up. So what's going to happen now? But what we need to look at also weekly, and we need to be careful here, because on the weekly what we have is the super macro triangle, and if we measure it, it's about a year, and if you draw it from there, it will be even bigger. You can draw it on the monthly time frame. But this is a super macro triangle, so very, very big and very, very important. So a lot of activities taking place in here. And what we see here is that it's been rejecting from this trend line. This is the, so here we got 1, 2, 3 weeks. Here we got 1, 2 weeks. Now we got 1, 2 weeks, and maybe this is going to be the third week here forming, right? We got 3 days to go for this weekly chart. Is this going to be a rejection here? My expectation, yes, we will not break it right now, because like, look, we've gone up 160, 150% from the bottom, and we're coming into this major resistance. Are we just gonna go smash through it? Hey, if Tudor keeps buying, yeah, maybe we can smash through. So once we smash through, then we can readjust. But right now, what I'm thinking is, possibly we're gonna go a bit more sideways here, and maybe we're gonna be stuck in this range, here, because we got a lot of support here. We try to go down, and this is where the daily EMAs are converging, and also you can see there's weekly EMAs here as well. You got the 55, you got the 100, and you got the 21 EMAs all coming here, and even the 8 EMA in here. So they're also supporting here. So there's a lot of support here, as well as this key horizontal support. So that's why we are not going down. A lot of people were expecting us to go down during the after the halving, but instead we just went down a little bit. We faked out people, and now we're sort of trying to go up here. So another thing we're seeing here is the weekly RSI, which I was looking at last time, and we were sort of rejecting here. But now look, we're trying to close above it again. So we gotta wait for these 3 days and see what's gonna happen here, and then we're gonna find out how the weekly is gonna look like going into next week. But there's a lot of good reasons for Bitcoin to just keep going up. Of course it's gonna be volatile. Of course it can just dump. It can easily just come back, dump 15%, find support over here, the trend line, and all these EMAs on the daily, and then maybe go sideways for a while. So any of those things can happen, but this would be a really, really good buy zone here if we come back and retest it again. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. But buy Bitcoin. It's trending up. The fees are trending up as well. So it might be early signs that we are entering the possibly entering bull market. And the other sign is because most of the traders actually think that we are going to go down. We are going to stay in this range here. And if all the traders are thinking that, maybe the market is going to do exactly the opposite and just keep going up. Anyway, you got to be prepared for all scenarios. Be prepared if we dump. Be prepared if we go up. But that's basically my view. Cheers. Thanks for watching. Bye.